Hi, Gordon. It's great to see you. Can you tell me a bit about yourself?
My name's Gordon Foote, and I'm a client representative. I operate, as opposed to mainstream sailing, actually in the offshore industry. So I work in the maritime disciplines across oil and gas, offshore renewables, and major environmental projects. I've spent combined 35 years or over 35 years at sea now. My first career was in submarines for the UK Royal Navy, and subsequently working in the offshore industry. And I'm currently rotational as a consultant for Formosa 2 offshore wind farm in Taiwan. We all applaud the health service and the carers during these extraordinary times during the Covid-19 pandemic. But of course, the corona warriors of now are the maritime industry and all those seafarers who are still out there and have been out there plying the world's trade for some considerable months. And specifically us in the offshore industry, we're providing the energy that's going to bring the whole world and all the different nations out of the economic downturn. Fuel, which will fuel the aircraft that will eventually fly, land and road transport, and of course the maritime vessels that require their fuel. But mainly we all understand it as being the gas and electricity that reaches our home. So to be able to switch the lights on at night, or to be able to cook your dinner, the offshore seafarers are supplying that energy source. And also with communication, which is so vitally important in this modern age now, that there's a whole raft of offshore workers out there repairing, maintaining, and laying cables, submarine cables for the telecommunications industry. So everyone that gets their internet and what broadband or otherwise, a great source of that is actually in submarine cables that then come onto land. It's affected all seafarers, specifically in the offshore industry. It's a high-tech industry using STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths graduates and workers. And these people need to move around to different nations in the restricted times that we have now with flight availability, flight capacity, the new regulations and guidelines that are in there. So even when flights and some aircraft are moving, they don't all go to the destination that we wish. We may have to take other routes. And of course, all different nations have a different quarantine or lockdown situation ongoing. We have to circumvent that and try and get to our project locations where we can. My recommendations are to keep into a routine, keep up the exercise. You are confined to a relatively small room. Use your network and your contacts, get assistance where you need it, but also think about utilizing that time in a good way. So to keep your mental health and well-being, why not carry out continuous professional development? The Nautical Institute, if you're a member, provide through Videotel free courses. I also did some from the World Health Organization and Coursera, which were all COVID-19 related. I think that the pandemic has taken most nations off guard. Most nations have now overcome the initial shock, if you like, and built in a bit more resilience. The guidance is a bit more thorough, but it is evolving and a dynamic, changing environment that we're in all the time. I think we all have to look after our mental health and well-being, because the added stresses on top of a pandemic for those that have been away from their loved ones for so long is extraordinary. And some of that can be countered by the additional bandwidth and being able to remotely keep in contact with loved ones via your phone or your laptop through the internet, but it's just not the same. So for everyone that's not a seafarer, the thought isolation in their home nation was bad. Please have a thought for the seafarers out there that didn't do it for 2 months or 3 months. Some of them have been out there doing it for greater than 12 months now. So we should all applaud those corona warriors.